Hey everyone, Shane here with etrailer.com. Today I have a 2018 Coachmen Leprechaun Motorhome. I'm going to walk through how to install Roadmaster's Front Anti-Sway Bar. Adding a sway bar onto your vehicle or an upgraded sway bar in your vehicle is going to minimize, if not almost eliminate, the body roll and sway that you get. The reason you want a sway bar is our vehicle is top heavy. As we're turning corners, maybe we get a crosswind, or you're going over bumps. The top of the vehicle wants to lean. Well, as it leans, it almost feels like you're falling over. And we want to, again, minimize or try to remove that from the drive. So we want to make our ride much more comfortable. What I recommend is if you're going to add a front one, add on a back one. It will make your ride quality that much better. Before we start our installation, we're going to go ahead and take the motorhome out, take it through our test course, and we're going to test it out to see how the products compare to each other from the factory to the one we're going to be installing. Right off the bat, we notice, going over these uneven bumps, that our motorhome wants to rock. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to minimize how much movement we get out of the top, because the top of our motorhome is very tall and it's very heavy. So we're very top heavy. Putting on the new sway bars is going to minimize that, as I mentioned. What we really want to do is we're wanting to see how much. Now we've gone over the bumps. We're going to take it down to the other end of the lot here. We're going to do some evasive maneuvers and see if we can't get the vehicle to lean a little bit. When we turn sharp corners, maybe driving down a long two-lane road and we have a little bit sharper corner to turn, is when we start to feel more of the vehicle lean, and it kind of stays that way. Kind of makes it nerve-wracking when you're driving, because you almost feel like the vehicle is going to tip over, and it makes the ride wherever we're going, it makes it uncomfortable. You're kind of almost gripping onto the steering wheel. And we want to try to eliminate it, if not decrease how much the sway bar or the vehicle leans. Now with our new sway bars installed, we're going to go ahead and take it back through our test course again and see how it compares to the factory ones. On our uneven bumps here, I can definitely tell a huge difference. The vehicle is not continuing to sway back and forth. It's settling a lot quicker. We don't have as far movement as we did before. We'll get it down here to the other end of the lot, get it into our slalom course. We'll see what it does. I can tell you right off the bat, it seems a lot more comfortable to drive. Really don't have as much leaning. Body's not leaning as much. So again, it's going to make our ride much more comfortable. As far as the installation process, pretty simple and straightforward. It's going to come with all the necessary hardware. It's not going to require any welding or drilling. This is what our new sway bar is going to look like when it's installed. You can see when we compare it to our factory one, our new one's going to be much thicker. It's actually going to be 1.5 inches thick. It's going to be constructed out of a 4140 chrome moly, which is going to be much more durable than your standard 1020 steel. Our new kit is actually going to come with new bushings and new brackets here, and a new bushing for your end links. To start our installation, we're going to take a 15mm socket to the bottom. At the very top, the easiest way is to take some channel locks, and it's going to look like a washer there. It's actually going to have flat sides on it. We're going to hold on to that washer with our channel locks. And we're going to start loosening the bolt at the bottom. We're going to take our washer and the upper bushing off. We'll slide this bolt out. We're going to leave the rest of that installed. Next, we're going to take our 15mm socket. We're going to remove the top nut here. 10mm socket, we'll remove the bottom bolt here on each side. I'm going to say this is going to be heavy. It's a good idea. Have an extra set of hands when taking these out so you don't hurt yourself. Over our factory hardware. an extra set of hands. I'll go ahead and pull that out and we'll set it aside. We're gonna have new brackets, new bushings. We're gonna have some grease. We're gonna pull our bracket off. It's gonna be a split bushing. We need to fill the whole inside of this with grease. And then we're gonna slide it on our sway bar, install the bracket, and then we'll install the bracket in the sway bar onto the frame of the vehicle in place of our old one. We're gonna take our bushing, slide it over our sway bar, take our bracket, put it in place like that. We're gonna do the same thing on the opposite end. Now before we get our sway bar put in place, you wanna make sure you're installing it the correct way. You notice how I have it laying down. This is how it's gonna be actually installed on the vehicle. You'll notice how this arm kind of goes down and touches the ground here. You wanna make sure it's sitting like this. If you flip it over, this arm is gonna be sticking up off the ground, and it's not going to allow this to connect to your in-link. We're gonna take our sway bar ends, we're gonna slide them up over the top of our axle, kind of where our factory one was. Go ahead and loosely install our factory hardware on each end. That'll hold it up in place. We'll go ahead and tighten these back into place. The top bushing on each side, we need to remove that bushing and we're going to install new ones. Just take a screwdriver, just kind of pry it against there like that. You got a new one on your kit, you want to make sure that lip is facing away from the plate here. Slide it on just like that. Get our bolt pushed back up through there. We need to make sure if this falls off, we put it on before we put on the new end. It's going to be cupped. You want to make sure the cup is facing up towards the sway bar. And then the bushing, you want to make sure that that end, again as I mentioned before on the other one, that lip is facing towards the center. Take this, slide it into our sway bar, and we'll take a new end and then thread the two pieces back together. You want to make sure that you're not over compressing this bushing. If you over compress it, the bushing will fail. Good rule of thumb is the outside edge of this plate here. Make sure your bushing is not pushing out past it. Once you have everything tightened in place, you're ready to go. It's going to do it for a look at and installation on the Roadmaster Front Anti-Sway Bar on a 2018 Coachmen Leprechaun Motorhome.